Ghosts in Old Inn, posted by u/unicornwitch. Hi. This is my first time writing here, but today something weird happened and I wanted to share to hear other people's opinion. My family runs a restaurant in northern Italy. The building dates back at the first years of 1900, so it is pretty ancient, and it has always had the same function, bar/restaurant/hotel. 2 years ago my father started seeing a smoke-like figure, more or less detailed at night, not every night. Also I saw once a smoke silhouette once. It was getting down the stairs and then it suddenly disappeared. My father believes that shadow/ghost is the first tower of the building. We have a picture of her and her husband hanged on the fireplace. The odds of the time wanted that after more than 100 years the place is in the hands of people with the same surnames of the original owners. The woman's surname is X as my family's, while her husband is called Y as the actual owner of the building. Also other people that work with my family said to have seen weird shadow/ghost. Today I was with my sister in the room connected to the wooden stairs while my mom was working at the bar. We all heard really heavy footsteps on the stairs, like if someone was running or tripping, and we rushed to see what had happened. There was nobody upstairs. If someone was going downstairs me and my sister would have noticed since we were standing in the only room directly connected to the stairs, and nothing was out of place. Can it be that we live with a ghost? P.S. Sorry for my bad writing and for the poor grammar/misspelled words, I'm not English. Hope my story is understandable. Well, I guess when they turn 3 is when they get creepy. Posted by u/ifbyland. So my daughter recently turned 3 and we went up to my in-laws. They live near the border with Poland. We named our daughter after my wife's grandmother, an amazing lady who passed right before we found out about our pregnancy. My daughter's name is Emma Rose, changed for privacy, Emma being the first name, Rose being her middle name, which is something unique to our family, as Ukrainians don't do middle names. So my grandmother-in-law would have been Baba Emma to my wife growing up, and that's how we have always talked about her and referred to her, Baba Emma. Keep in mind my daughter is old enough to know her own name now. So you say, who are you? Or some variation of what's your name? And she answers Emma Rose. So after the long, 6-hour drive, we reach the village. On the way into the village of course we always pass the cemetery where Baba Emma is buried. This particular time we had my mother-in-law in the car with us. We picked her up from town on the way to the village, and she is in the back playing with Lil Emma. Emma is ecstatic because she hasn't seen her grandma in a while and was really missing her lately. Grandma felt the same about Emma. So we are driving slowly, because the roads are terrible, and as we pass the cemetery, Emma Rose breaks away from her grandmother, points out the window and says, "Look. Emma Rose, look." Me, "What is it, Emma? What do you see?" Emma Rose, "It's Emma Rose." Me, "No, you're Emma Rose." Emma Rose, "No, there. Emma Rose." Okay. My daughter just saw herself, or her namesake, in the cemetery. My wife just look at each other, smirk, and just keep moving. I've read online about creepy things toddlers say, and this was the first. So I guess it starts at 3. My worst childhood experience, posted by u/saltine-streams. Ever since I was the age of around 5, I have had awful night terrors. I am now 19, and still have them. When I was younger, I had them every night or every other night. These horrible dreams happened so often that I eventually was prescribed sleeping medicine to help me sleep. Guess what? Sleeping medicine make them worse. So yeah, this is something I've kinda learned to live with. Smoking weed decreases the frequency of them, and how intense and drawn out they seem. Anyway, around the age of 7 I had a cyst just behind my belly button, which was connected to my bladder through my umbilical cord. You see, that section of cord never eroded and dissolved inside my body like it's supposed to sometime during your baby years. Now, I had an operation to get both the cyst and the cord removed. About a week before this operation, my sister and I were staying with a family friend who babysat us a lot. She's 3 years younger than me, and I was 7 so she must have been 4 or 5. I wasn't feeling good, and my parents were on a date night. Long story short, parents come home and pick me up, take me home. They leave my sister with the family friend because she had had a good time that day and was already asleep. We were young enough that we still shared a room. My parents and I get home, and I go to bed. I have one of those dreams where you're falling, and your body hit the ground and your body impacts your bed. You know what kind of dream I'm talking about. This dream startles me awake, and I'm laying on my back. I decide I'm no longer comfortable on my back after experiencing that dream, so I roll over on my left side. I am now facing the wall, meaning the entire room is to my back and behind me. I lay there for 5 to 10 minutes, before I decide to roll over again. My eyes are closed by now, as I'm starting to doze back off. I have had this uneasy feeling ever since I impacted the bed and rolled over about 10 minutes, and I open my eyes. They widen in fear as I try to process what exactly I'm seeing. Picture this: you're laying in a bunk bed that has been detached from its sibling, which is sitting across the room almost exactly parallel to your bed across the room. Both of these beds are twins. There's 2 dressers lining the far wall from the door, which is about 10 to 15 feet from the foot of your bed. There's a toy chest and closet on the opposite side of the room from the dressers. Now that you have a decent mental image of the room, I can continue on. After I roll over onto my right side, I open my eyes and kinda scan the room, to see if there's a reason I feel uneasy. The first thing my eyes settle on is a woman sitting across the room on my sister's bed, back to me. So, she's facing the wall, away from me and the rest of the room. My eyes widen, and my jaw drops. Mentally I'm saying what the fuck, who is this woman, where did she come from? Then, I realize I could be having a night terror. However, one thing that always brought me back to reality from a night terror is I could never hear the hallucinations I was having when I woke up mentally still in my dream. This is what a night terror is, when you have a bad nightmare and wake up still hallucinating the dream. My parents had grown used to this by this point, as I had already been to the doc and tried the sleeping pills. Usually they would come in when I was crying, and hug me and snap in front of my face to try to get me to realize I'm awake and no longer in my dream, or that the dream isn't actually happening. Anyway, as I'm looking at this woman and trying to figure out what exactly is going on, she starts to turn toward me. Remember how I told you I could kinda tell when I was having a night terror because I couldn't hear my hallucination? Well, as she's turning toward me, my sister's bed creaks. I lose my shit, start screaming and crying and sprint out of the room, to my parents and aunt, who's in town visiting from out of state, so she's staying in our house, sitting in the living room talking. I'm in absolute hysterics at this point, screaming and pointing that someone is in my room with me. My parents are like, well, he cognitively talking to us, and know that his sister isn't home. He can't be dreaming and hallucinating. My dad goes in and checks, my mom and aunt calming me down while he's doing that. He comes back out, and says there's nobody in there. He even checked under the beds and in the closet, it's empty. Oh, I forgot to describe the woman I saw. Picture that creepy bitch from The Ring, you know, long black hair that goes down to the middle of her back. White nightgown. Now, take her, and combine her with The Grudge, because the woman was too skinny to be that creepy bitch. After that, dress her in blue jeans and a random sweater/long sleeve shirt. I never fully saw her face, because I was out of there after I heard that bed creak. Safe to say I slept in the living room that night. A strange occurrence from a few years back. Posted by u/K1410407. Hate to disappoint, but this experience was more completely weird than scary. Nevertheless, it's not something that would happen on a day-to-day basis. In Hindu culture, many families will have several models and idols displayed in their households to pray to and pay their respects as a representation of actual deities. They're also significant on holidays and other sacred events. I don't remember exactly when this happened, but it happened in one of my old households back when I moved around a lot. We had several deities models displayed in a glass shelf, ones we still have today, including folks like Saraswati and Krishna from what I can remember. When my family woke up and came downstairs one day, my parents pointed out at the shelf. Most, if not all of the idols, particularly the largest ones, were all perfectly rotated 90 degrees to the left. It was completely bizarre to say the least. This isn't particularly scary or harmful, but we were thoroughly confused as to what or why it happened. We've always placed them facing forward like anyone else would. Another thing to note is that in our culture the sun is held sacred as well, and that we live in houses that face in an east-west direction, as it's considered a healthy condition, so there's no spiritual reason for the idols to point north to south. My mom has always been a fanatic for God and believes more in spirituality than known science, although they're technically the same for our culture's history. To this day I still don't have a logical explanation for this. We adjusted the idols and moved on with our lives. It's the closest experience to a paranormal event. We were broken into before in a house before this an even longer time back, and there were no signs of one this time. There's no reason for why anybody would break into a suburban house just to rotate their sacred figurines counterclockwise 90 degrees. I've always been interested in the strange and mysterious, and I would appreciate any explanation for this.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe for more videos.